So before we start, have a moment's silence, please. And then Monica will open the session.
So thank you, James, and very happy to see many friends today here. So the topic today is understanding the Aryan spirit. So we are going to understand through words of Mother Sri Aurobindo. Their words have power, their words have consciousness, and along with that they have force. Whenever we go through words of Mother Sri Aurobindo, the words have that effect that they do not only enter our consciousness, they also give us a lot of power. They empower us. So I'm going to take the assistance of words of specifically Sri Aurobindo here, and we are going to go through what he has to say of what is the Aryan spirit and how to walk the path. So a very short example of what is the Aryan spirit and why do we need that. Now, the moment we, just like we took one moment of silence as James was beginning the session, we realized that even in that one moment of silence, it's challenging for us to bring the mind to a one-pointed concentration. No matter we may be a devotee of Mother or Sai Baba or any other divine form, but still we feel that as if you have to gather the mind and bring it to a pinpointed concentration, and there are many things pulling you from here and there. So that's where the warrior spirit, it's a glimpse of where the warrior spirit is needed. When you see these rugby matches, the football matches we see, so you see that there is a ball which is present with one fellow, and that fellow has to take it from one goalpost to the other goalpost, and there would be several distractions in between. So that's what happens with each one of us, that when we begin to tame the mind even a bit and make the mind a bit concentrated, one pointed, fully in the present here and now, either on a divine name or with our breath in the body, we see that we are pulled apart in various directions. And those various directions have not really benefited us so far. All of us know about all those various directions, and each one has a different attachment. So you must be given a different set of attachments. In my life, I have different sets of attachment, and we see that thoughts overcrowd our mind space and we are just pulled apart in all the different directions. And then one day when we decide that no, that is not benefiting me, I have to do something else with my life, then we get in touch with this true Aryan spirit. And it's just a glimpse that I'm sharing. Again, there is more to the Aryan spirit than just this. So we will use words of Mother Sri Aurobindo and we will study and reflect over them, because I feel that it's our dharma, it's our birthright to walk the path of Aryan spirit. It's not that it's a luxury that only a few rare individuals are supposed to be the Aryans and rest all can be ordinary. No, Mother said that time has really come. It's an urgent time that at least a few of us become pure gold. And those of us who feel that they have had enough experiences, enough sufferings in life, and we don't have to go that long way of banging our heads on the wall here and there and then arriving at the destination. Once we have had enough experiences, then we can work on making the mind one pointed and just directly going towards the goal. So that's what Sri Aurobindo's words will be taking us forward into. And we will pause in between and we'll take breaks and reflections and questions. So just putting up a screen. I'll be sharing a few slides with you. So I hope it's clear and everyone can see the screen. So these are words of Sri Aurobindo. We fight to win sublime wisdom. Therefore, men call us warriors. For wisdom implies the choice as well as the knowledge of that which is the best, noblest, most luminous, most divine. Certainly, it means also the knowledge of all things and charity and reverence of all things, even the most apparent mean, ugly, or dark, for the sake of the universal deity who chooses to dwell equally in all. But also, the law of right action is a choice, the preference of that which expresses the Godhead to that which conceals it. And the choice entails a battle, a struggle. It is not easily made, it is not easily enforced. So, just staying with the first paragraph here, which we have in front. So, every moment we have a choice. Either I can follow the evil within me, or I can follow the pure within me. Every moment. So, we have to make it very practical. These words are not talking about some distant future. These words are our present day life. Every moment in each interaction of my worldly life, I have a choice. And Sri Aurobindo is saying that the law of right action is a choice. And if I am not making a choice, then I am choosing not to choose. So I can't say that, see, I'm not making any choice. No. But by default, if I am not making a choice, I am choosing not to make a choice. So by default, darkness rules. By default, egoistic patterns will rule. Why that is the case? Because as we have heard, many of us have heard about the story of creation by the mother. Everything in existence turned to its opposite. Sat turned asat. Consciousness became unconsciousness. Force became weakness. Bliss became suffering. That's why we have the present human condition where all of these exists. Suffering exists, unconsciousness exists, darkness exists, ugliness exists. So what is my Aryan role? My Aryan role is to make the right choice. And if I'm not making a right choice, then I'm partnering with the evil. So I can't say that, I'm not making a choice, I'm neutral. No. When, Sir Desmond Tutu, when he was giving up, taking a stand for this apartheid regime that was there, a caste and creed and all that. He said that when you are not choosing to be with the right, you are choosing injustice. So in front of me, if somebody is beating an innocent person or an animal, and if I say, see, I am a neutral one, I don't have to take any stand, I am taking the stand of injustice. So law of right action is a choice. In Gita, in Bhagavad Gita, we see that Sri Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo or Sri Krishna, he made Arjun make the right choice because that was in inclination with his Swadharma, Kshatriya Dharma, right cause, fight, stand for the right cause. So we have to get up, wake up from this tamas that rules us, a dullness that rules us. So law of right action is a choice, and the preference of that which expresses the Godhead to that which conceals it. So if I have a genuine kindness and compassion in my life, if I make a choice to be genuinely kind, truthful, and honest and compassionate, I am making a choice to express the Godhead, and I am making a choice not to conceal it. And when do I conceal the divine within? When I act out of my ulterior motives. When I act out of my manipulative patterns, I see that something ugly was ruling me, but I still acted according to that pattern. Then I am acting, I am choosing that which conceals the divine presence, which puts a blanket over it. And by default, I would not be really kind and nice. That would be very rare. I will have to practice. So Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Vietnamese master, he was asked by Oprah Winfrey that how are you like this? You are so like you sit and I'm sitting in the presence of you and it's amazing your vibration. And he said, that's just my training. So we have to train, we have to make the right choice, right? The choice entails a battle. So all of us, I think, are aware very well of this battle that goes on within us. Shall I do that? Shall I do this? Shall I tell that to that person or shall I keep my mouth shut? Shall I take this step? Shall I not take this step? Is it true? Is it false? So this battle continues. And it's amazing to see that it's good to have a battle going on, because that tells me that something in me is stirring up. Something in me is discontent with the present ways of life. So I see my imperfections and I want to move towards a perfection. So battle is there. It's good to have a battle. And many masters had also said that if you don't have a battle going inside, or a yearning or a longing going inside, then you are as good as a dead fellow. What need are you there for? Why are you a human being at all when you are not ready to arise from your imperfections and move towards perfection? So Sri Aurobindo says that it is not easily made. So when we walk on the spiritual path, many a times, really difficult stumbling blocks, old patterns of ego sticking to you. You see a person and you're just full of some burning sensation in your chest. Why? Because these are your old patterns. Now they're arising because they have to be let go of. At least now I am becoming conscious of them and I can choose not to stick to them. So path is difficult, especially in the beginning, and that beginning can be for a long time, even lifetimes. So we are very factually dealing with that okay, it is a difficult path, and anyway life is difficult for everyone. It's not an easy journey. So why not choose the right difficulty? And then he says, whoever makes that choice, the right choice, always choosing the light over the darkness in each moment of my life, whoever makes that choice, whoever seeks to climb from level to level up the hill of the divine, fearing nothing, deterred by no retardation or defeat, shrinking from no vastness because it is too vast for his intelligence. Many a times people say that, oh my God, I don't understand Sri Aurobindo's words. I don't know how to understand them. Long sentences, too much for the mind to bear. So what is he saying, Sri Aurobindo? Shrinking from no vastness because it is too vast for his intelligence. So attempting to understand Sri Aurobindo, attempting to understand Mother. No height because it is too high for his spirit. No greatness because it is too great for his force. And courage. He is the Aryan, the divine fighter and victor, the noble man, Aristos, the best and Shrestha of Gita. And this is each one of us. This is our destiny. So whenever, how can I take it in my daily life? Whenever a thought which is a limiting thought, it's like a very disturbing me, my story, oh, I am so unworthy, or I am so beautiful, whatever, anything that limits me arises in my being, I have to reject it. And in words of Saint Kabir, he says that, I'll just read out a couplet from him. He says, सूरा सोही जानिए लड़ा पांच के संग राम नाम रटता रहे chada savaya rang. So he says, only that fellow can be called a warrior who is fighting the battle that Sri Aurobindo was talking of with the five senses. Why battle? Because whenever I hear anything from anyone, and the mind is also one of the sense, the sixth sense, sixth layer, mind interprets. Oh, that person said that to me. Oh, this is what it means. This is what it means. See, 5 years ago, this all happened. Now I understand, why he is doing this to me. So all this interpretation of the mind, the sensory input, that makes us really, it boggles our mind if we begin to believe it. So what Sri Aurobindo also says, mother talks about detaching from surface consciousness or the sense mind. As long as I am listening to all these sensory input and interpretation of the mind and believing them to be real, there is no solace for me, there is no peace for me. So how to understand this? Knowing that whatever I hear, whatever I listen, it is very limited. Whatever the mind interprets is so limited according to my conditioning. What do I know? What do I know? So just like I am bounded from all different directions from my sanskaras, the other person who is talking, whose words I am interpreting, that person is also bounded. So we have to stop taking our thoughts and feelings too seriously. Let them go. They arise. Of course, they will arise. They will not just disappear so easily. They will keep on arising like dead ghosts arising again. And they will try to have a hold on me. They will say, listen to me, listen to me. You must have seen these very fantastical movies like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. What happens? You have monsters and goblins and all kinds of, stuff there. What do they try to do? They try to attack you. They speak evil words and they want your attention. But who is the true warrior? Who is able to take the ring to the last mountain where it has to be burnt. He's not listening. He's not getting strayed by all the, mean people coming on the way. So whenever these disturbing sensory input, the interpretation of the mind, whenever these arise, I have to choose not to listen to them. Why? Because it is not the right choice. Why? Because it entangles me, it disturbs me, and it is not light in me. It pulls me towards darkness. So this is the choice we every moment have to make. And all of us have this feeling or, this experience of having this battle. We all have past sanskaras which have to be transcended. We all have attachments to people from the past. The same person who disturbs you, if that same person is talking to me, I would be totally undisturbed. Why? Because I don't have that past sanskara with that person. But you have. So whenever that person says something, immediately your mind starts interpreting. Now, for me, if there is one person in my life who is again, I have some past, attachment with that person, when he speaks, my chest may begin to burn and something may happen. But the same person, when he talks to you, nothing may happen to you. Why? Because the person is the same. So how long will we listen to these dictates of old patterns? That is the question we have to ask. Why? Because now I want a certain sanctity and purity in my life. I've been there in the stories in the head for long. We all have done that. But how long will we continue? So we will have to make the right choice every moment, and that's the Aryan's choice. That's the Aryan. So anything here before we take up the next slide? Anyone?
Hi, Monica. I have a small question. So, when the acceptance level increase, or maybe sometimes I feel that we fake it till we make it kind. So this happens, and when we see that we don't know, we know that we don't know. Like it's like a knowingness of that. But when we talk to other person and the communication happens, and the other person is talking something, and we say we don't really know, So let's just accept whatever is being said. And that way the communication becomes zero. Like, how do we respond? Like, we don't have anything to talk. Sometimes I feel that totally like I don't have anything to say on this. And this happens like 80% of the time. And the family also gets disturbed that I don't talk, then there is nothing to talk. So how do we, like, is that the right thing also to do even? I don't know.
Yeah. So you are sharing that on the path, many a times it happens that when we realize that most of the words are unnecessary, there is hardly any communication left, right? And don't you think it's a beautiful thing? Much better than the rubbish we are involved in most of the times. So actually, why we think it's weird is because we are habituated to excessively talk. Now, two people, if they meet, very rare would it be that they are meeting also, but they are not talking that much. They are just okay in each other's company. It's very rare. If one needs a really heartful connection there, that you're just enjoying your own company, each other's company. So mother says, and Sri Aurobindo also say, that speech is a very powerful tool and it should be only used when necessary. The way we are habituated, it's like we are habituated to an oily food. Now suddenly the oily food is gone, and I'm living on boiled food. In the beginning, it will feel discomforting to me. But slowly, as I reap the benefits of boiled food, then I will realize, oh, I am feeling so light, I have more energy. And I can put this energy in right activities, maybe learn a skill, learn an instrument, spend some more time in, good reflections, good books, maybe meditate a bit more, concentrate, tame the mind a bit more. So all that energy which is used to just a habit, we are used to be involved in gossip, mostly gossip and shallow chat. Now that is going away. That is, its time is over. And in Vedas, there is this symbol of dragon. Dragon is like a guard of the darkness. And that's why in these fantastical movies also we have dragons coming up whenever we talk of dark areas or shadows. So Sri Aurobindo says that dragon is also a reflection for things which are outdated. So that chattery me was necessary maybe at that point of time, wherever it was necessary. Now I have to change. Now if out of an old habit I still remain the chattery me and keep on blabbering things which I myself don't believe in, that is a dragon. So mother says that there is nothing wrong with this word. Things are just not in their proper place, their right place. So there was a phase where the chattering and communication and all that was required in human evolution. Now we are moving on. Now that is not required. Now maybe spending time more in solitude or spending time with friends who you want to have a dialogue or a reflection over these matters, maybe that is not my necessity. So if everything has a proper place, speech, see, imagine you come across a friend who wants to talk about these matters, spiritual reflections or all that, then you won't be able to stop yourself. You will talk, you will reflect, because there you have something to talk about. So if everything has its proper place, even then speech is also okay. If you're 1 hour you are chattering away with your friend, that speech has a right place. But I think it's a good thing, it's a good discomfort if we are having that discomfort that the old is tearing away, it's going away. Let that silence be. It's good to have that silence. In the beginning it appears a bit weird and discomforting, owing to the fact that I'm not habituated to it. So slowly a new habit can develop. Just a matter of old habits dying hard, so we feel a certain discomfort. Yeah. Yeah, anything else, anyone here, before we take up the next one? Okay, so I'm moving on then, and please feel free to say anything in between. So intrinsically, in its most fundamental sense, Arya means an effort, uprising and overcoming. The Aryan is he who strives and overcomes all outside him and within him that stand opposed to the human advance. So all the resistances that I come across, all the resistances from the ego, the mind, chattery mind, the overburdening emotions, the lethargic body, all that has to be overcome. There is the right effort that has to be put by our Aryan spirit. Each one has the Aryan spirit. So right choice, right effort. The Aryan is he who strives and overcomes all outside him and within him that stands opposed to the human advance. So suddenly we see a weakness in us, an ugliness in us, a creepiness in us, something which is very graspy, clingy, wants to possess, dominate. We have to become conscious of it. That look, it is there and it is hindering my advance. So now time to let it go. And we will come later on to desire also, because if we are desirous, then that path cannot be traveled further. So desires will have to be let go of. So he says self-conquest is the first law of his nature. And that word itself it's a word which is encompassing many things. Self-conquest. So one is a master of oneself. What does it mean? I am a master of my mind. So when I ask my mind to be in the body with the breath now for 10 minutes, I must be able to do that. And nothing but that. So I have to just, that's what we call in Buddhism, taming the mind, taming the monkey mind. So now telling the mind is my tool, I am the master, telling it, okay, let's sit with the breath for 10 minutes. Mind must follow. That's self-conquest. Feelings, moods coming, suddenly a bad mood arises. Again, old patterns, we don't know what is the root of that bad mood, but we see it arising. Two things can happen, only binary, 0 or 1. One thing is I follow that mood, even when it is disturbing and not really beneficial. The other thing is I become conscious of the arising ripple. I become conscious and I choose not to follow the dictate, so that darkness can still stay for some time. It would not just completely disappear, but I would not be wanting to follow the dictate of that mood. That's my progress. So I cannot just suddenly say, okay, I said, okay, mood, I don't want to follow you, and it goes away. That's not going to happen in the first place. It may happen after many efforts, but in the first place, I will be conscious of the mood that yes, it is there. I know it doesn't benefit me. So I'm going to stick to mother's name. Mama, mama, mama. I'm just sticking with that. I'm sticking with breath. I'm sticking with any other divine name that I believe in. And I'm not going to listen to that dark cloud. So that's self-conquest, a little victory over my own being. Lethargy, tamas. We all have tastes of lethargy. We want to do something good, but tamas pulls us down. So again, conquest over the body, that no, there is a discipline. I have to finish this today. I have to sit 10 minutes at least for this work, or half an hour, whatever I choose for myself. So pulling myself from the tamas and dullness of the body. Again, self-conquest. So self-conquest is what he says here is, self-conquest is the first law of his nature. This is what I live for in each interaction. What am I seeking? Conquering myself again and again. So everything happening in the life can be just a trigger. And through that trigger, I get to know, okay, what's happening in me? What's happening in me? And immediately that I can become conscious of it and let it go, or choose not to follow the dictate. So it's it's like a grateful, one feels gratitude towards the outer happening, that you told me that still something was ready in me to get triggered. So for difficult people, difficult situations, we can feel very grateful. That if you don't tell me, how would I get to know that I have overcome this or not? So good to see that I'm still triggered. So self-conquest is the first law of his nature. He overcomes earth and the body and does not consent like the ordinary men to their dullness, inertia, dead routine, and tamasic limitations. Right? So I'm not going to just buy into this fact that, oh, the body, yeah, it is dull. Oh, we all have inertia. Oh, we all have tamas. No, I'm not going to buy into that. Yes, we all have tamas, but if I have something, some vision in life, then I don't need to follow the dictate of the tamas. Dullness of, mind. Many a times we see this dullness in the mind. There is no clarity. Confusion, haze. One is not clear in the mind. But again, we need training here. Without training, nothing can be achieved. He overcomes life and its energies and refuses to be dominated by their hungers and cravings or enslaved by their rajasic passions. So I am so passionate about eating jalebi, for example. I can't help but eat jalebi when it is in front. We think that this is human life. This is what human life is. But what he shares here is that I refuse to be enslaved by rajasic passions. So when jalebi comes, I can eat. Offering it to the mother, of course I can eat. But what we eat, how we eat is like we jump over it. We attack it with our greed and grasping. That has to go away. Its time is over now. Its time is over. He overcomes the mind and its habits. Again, what is the habit of the mind? It is to remain scattered all the time. So what is the new habit that I am developing? Just a second. Yeah. So the habit of the mind is to remain scattered, to be pulled in every direction, and not to listen to the dictate of one master within. So now that habit has to change. If I want the mind right now, at my command, it must come to the breath and stay with the breath. So the habit of ingathering the consciousness and not listening to the sensory input. At least for some time in the day, we have to do that. So he overcomes the mind and its habit. Also the habit of the mind to obsessively judge, interpret too much. We just constantly, we are judging people, myself, every action is being judged. Not only, I don't only spare myself, I don't spare anyone. Others I judge. Myself I keep on judging. Life I keep on judging. And I also see parallelly that there is hardly anything in the life that works according to my judgment. Yet I keep on judging. So this is obsessive, old habit of the mind that has to be let go of. He overcomes the mind and its habits, and he does not live in the shell of ignorance. Inherited prejudices, customary ideas, pleasant opinions, but knows how to seek and choose. So now there is a knowing developing within. Whenever we are setting up a new house, how carefully we select the furniture. This garbage should not be here. Okay, the bathroom should be over there. Everything sorted and organized. Neat, clean. Every second day, the garbage man has to come take away the garbage. So to seek and choose, that I would know. What is benefiting me, what is not benefiting me. The moment I indulge in the opinions of mind, it harms me. So stopping, not obsessively just being a slave of that. So knows how to seek and choose, to be large and flexible in intelligence, even as he is firm and strong in his will. So two things together: firmness, always to choose the light and the truth and expansion, and a flexibility. Because since the divine is infinite, the workings of the divine are also infinite. The ways of the divine are also infinite. So how can I make it a dogma? Truth cannot be a dogma, at all. So to be very, as Sri Aurobindo says, the one who walks on this path, mind has to be very vast, wide, flexible, and so wide that if you sit across the table with a person who has exactly opposing the viewpoint that you have, you must be able to synthesize it. While what we do is we become at clash at each other and we say, okay, let us agree to disagree. That's what we say. That's the conclusion that we make. Let us agree to disagree. So Sri Aurobindo says that if there are two opposing point of views, the mind should be so plastic and flexible that you sit across the table and both of you, if you are on the path, then you will be able to, make it into a synthesis that each point has its proper place. Right? For in everything he seeks truth, in everything right, in everything height and freedom. So whenever we are, we are having these little moments in our life where we have to make a choice whether to use this word, not to use this word, these are the tools that we can use. Is that word that I'm going to say, or is that act that I'm going to do going to reflect truth, light, wideness, freedom? And if not, I refuse to use that word, action, or anything. Even feeling, because many a times we are following the dictates of our moods and feelings mostly, which are very disturbing for ourselves and for others also. So this choice is at each step that we have to take. So I'm just going to take a pause here and invite any reflections. Give me a moment. I'm going to be back, and in the meantime, you just think about any reflection that you have. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have kids alone at home, me and kids. So, yes, anyone? Any reflection on what we shared?
Uh,
Yes, Vipin, please.
I just want to know like more about how we can actually come with the terms when we have someone facing the same path which we are going on, but have a different opinions. Like you said, let's just agree to disagree. But sometimes it's very difficult, to do that, or maybe let's just say not to do that, but to comes in one term. How to actually? I just want to know how we can avoid this thing and just be on the path.
Yeah, so first of all, it is very challenging because the way we work, even when I am saying that we want a larger synthesis and I don't want to oppose the person sitting next to me, we want to have a larger view, and which includes both the point of views that are there. Although we may be saying that, but both of us may have hidden desires and inclinations. So we want the thing to go in this direction. That's our limitation. So that's why becoming desireless is the first step, has to be the first step, because then the mind is not free. When the mind is full of a liking and preference, the mind is not free. So how to free up the mind? Understanding that, okay, that may be my inclination, but how do I know that it's true for a larger picture? It's good for a larger picture. How do I know? I can't know. So then what you do is you become open to the other conversations also, other opposing point of views also. Again, this can be actually a different session altogether. It's called synthesis, thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. But we won't be able to take it right away. But maybe in one of the sessions, I will try to include it. So something like this can happen. Maybe you say God exists, and the other one says, no, God doesn't exist. Now it is up to both of you to arrive at a synthesis that how you are also right and she is also right or he is also right, because everything has actually a proper place. So when I am saying God exists, I am speaking out of experience, and then I will share this and that and this and that. And when the sub person is saying no, God does not exist, he is also speaking out of experience, and then one is ready to listen to those experiences. So on the same table, the mind is getting more and more expanded, supple, and then we understand, oh, actually the person who says no, God does not exist, he is actually pointing only towards that one higher truth only. His way of saying may be something very anti divine, but it actually not. So then the mind becomes a bit flexible, because now I'm not trying to prove that no, God exists, how can you say that? So that desire should not, this preference should not be there. That I am not tied to my dogma, and hence I can listen to the other person and see, okay, let me see what he is sharing. And then we realize, if we really go deeper, which is a rare thing to go deeper, because we are just from the surface we go away and we say let's agree to disagree. So if we go deeper, then we will realize that both of us are actually pointing towards the same truth in two different ways. So even the person who is actually saying God does not exist, he must be pointing towards one truth, because there is nothing but that truth that exists. So there is no other possibility. There must be a synthesis. But that again, that can only happen when I am not too tied up in my belief that no, I want to make proof to this person that God exists. How can he say that the God does? So I should not be sentimental about that thing of mine. Then I can open. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to add on?
Yeah, Monica. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Dullness of thought. How can that be conquered, countered? Dullness of thought.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, James. And I think it's a journey. I feel
Yeah,
that,
it comes in
yeah,
phases as well,
yes,
doesn't
it
it?
comes in phases. Yes, yes.
Yeah, but it's something that is quite perplexing when it's there, isn't it? Yeah. So what's the
Personally,
solution to that?
yeah, I think I personally feel that whenever I'm having a dullness of thought, I have hidden likings and preferences. Again, just one reflection, there may be many more things to it, but I feel that whenever I feel dull in my thought space,
Mental inertia, isn't it, almost?
something like that, yes. So somewhere in the grooves of my own thinking, I'm stuck, and that's making me dull.
Just trying to get to the root cause of it, though, is
I think many a times I'm not able to get to the root cause.
okay.
So what I do personally, I find solace in the mother,
Yeah,
the golden key that we have.
sure.
Yeah, and then slowly, that dullness passes like a dark cloud, and then things clear up and the cloud is gone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And I think it's sometimes we can just say that's not the truth.
yes,
That's not the truth. And that kind of works with me. Like I tried it. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anything else? Anyone like this? Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Monica, may I? Sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, Monica, I heard you saying that being desireless is the first key, first parameter. Not really totally practical, I don't know, or maybe it's difficult to achieve. Being totally desireless, of course, as one reaches one stage of evolution and goes to the higher stage of evolution, we begin to have less desires and less judgments, and therefore, we don't even have as much desires coming up. But being totally desireless is something that I thought you might want to share something upon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. So Sri Aurobindo and Mother say that desire is a helper. Desire, again, we were talking that things have their proper place. So when the world is arising from a dullness and tamas and inertia, What does a desire do? So imagine that, I am just very lethargic. I'm just giving a very overt example, very lethargic, sitting in my room, all dark, and suddenly I fall in love, this so-called human love. I have a desire to meet the person I love. What would I do? I will clean up myself. I will wear clean clothes and I would clean up my surroundings and I would go out and meet that person. So some activity comes. Mother says that even passions are preferable to dull inertia. So desire there has a place. But there comes a time in our life, each one, their own journey, but there has to come a life, maybe in this lifetime or maybe in another lifetime, we don't know when. There comes a time in my life when desires actually make me suffer. Desiring and running after the desires make me suffer. And day before yesterday also we were having a session, somebody was sharing that how to leave a desire, it's so difficult to leave a desire. And I was wondering this, and I shared with that fellow that I said that if you have suffered through a desire, then you would not dare touch a desire. So suffer. And I was again why I am so convinced that being desireless is the path. Where I read Mother and Sri Aurobindo, it resonates with me. Why? Because I have suffered very intensely running after my desires. So that suffering makes me convinced that I don't want that life for me again. And now I also see that being with the mother, taming the mind whenever I have time, and making a discipline for my life, there also I have delight in my life. It's joy to be with the mother. So desire, why do we have desire? Because desire gives pleasure. It brings momentary happiness. But now you have the delight, you have the mother. So why do I want, to run after that excitement? Why to again bother myself? I feel that this, as gradually we get a new taste of this life, a desireless life, then we take a right action, not out of desire, but because it is a right action, as we were reading earlier. And then one is very content with this inner joy and satisfaction that one has with the mother, with the divine presence. One gets drained when one runs after desire. So it feels uneasy. Mother says that unease is the sign that you are getting away from the psychic being. So whenever we are desirous, have you felt, it makes us so uneasy. You are running after that, draining energies for that. When it's not happening, you are so disappointed. It's such a waste of effort, So that's what I feel, that one has to, maybe, I don't know, at this stage of life, maybe suffer enough to get convinced that being desireless is the way, or I don't know, some other way of acts of grace that can tell me that it's not working for me. So that's what I can share on this. Yeah.
I want to just share something which I read on Ashtavakra Gita. So there Ashtavakra mentioned that desire is also good because in a way that that we also desire to be happy. Like this is the path, the spirituality. It's a desire only that we are here. So the desire will take you there, but at the end you have to drop everything. So that is what he said, that even desire can be only used for a purpose, but at the end you have to anyways drop everything. Like, so that's what it mentioned very nicely.
Yes. So again, with your example, we see that the desire has a purpose. It brought me this far. And now we see that being desirous just disturbs me, entangles me in this and that, and makes me too drained in energy. Do I want that in my life? That's the question I can ask. Yes, Kalpana ji, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, you were, that example that you gave about maybe an argument that we have with somebody where you say that you believe in the divine, the other person doesn't. Now, this is this happens in everyone's life. I mean, in so many things, it may not be on such a philosophical topic, but on any other topic. I don't know the way, I just wanted to share this. I have this way of dealing with it that is, I mean, my path is set. I am not supposed to, and I don't want to enter into these. He or she is entitled to his way of life or to his opinions or to the way he wants to think or feel. And it is not for me to, enter into that. That is not, I mean, that's a waste of time. I'm supposed to do other things rather than talk or enter into arguments. I don't know, is that, I mean, I feel that's the way I am dealing with it. I don't know if it's the correct way to go about it.
I think again, as we said, that truth is not a formula. So maybe in the context that you are talking of, that may be the way towards peace. But many a times there are issues larger than us. For example, a person is sitting next to you and he says that women must be raped. Now you can't say that, okay, you better have your own belief. I don't know what I have, in my head, and I don't want to discuss it with you. That would be, not taking a right stand. So again, depend on the context that you're talking of. Many times our contexts are very little that can be let go of, and good to let them go. But many a times contexts are that we need to discuss, we need to reflect, because if there is one drop of poison sitting next, in front of me, and I let it remain the poison, then maybe I'm not fulfilling my duty. I don't know. That's what I feel. Again, context to context. Yeah. Or somebody says that animals are lower beings than us, it's okay to hit them. Again, I won't be able to stay mum there. I will make the other person understand in whatever way possible, that what do you think about this or that, right? So again, context to context. Yes. Yeah, anything else? Anyone at this point? Yes, Swapna.
I was just becoming aware in myself that many times, either when I'm very disturbed, or also if, to a certain extent, James's phrase, dullness of thought, I was thinking, how does that manifest for me? And for me, that can sometimes be kind of feeling down, or just having kind of down or even depressing kind of thoughts or moods. And I think all those things, either getting disturbed or feeling down, often comes when I want the other person's love, approval, or appreciation. As soon as I'm invested in, it's not just winning my point. Often it's so subtle. It's like, I just want to be seen a certain way. I want to be seen as intelligent or worthy, or simply to be seen, like the other respects and sees me, hears me. And as soon as I have that agenda, I notice it's so painful, and it takes me away from the yoga and the mother. And recently I've been noticing, especially with those that are nearest and dearest, that's when it seems to matter the most, when there's disagreements or two different points of view, that they at least give me the respect to hear me, but who says in that moment, maybe they're not able to give me the respect to see me, or they disagree so much that, or they're so triggered themselves. I don't know. There can be so many things happening. So recently I've been noticing, I just often pray, my prayer to mother is, let me be free. Let me really be free of how the other sees me or views me, or let me be free of seeking this love, approval, appreciation, and I'm working on it. I'm not there yet, but it seems like a really worthy prayer right now.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, I think this is what we were reading on this slide also. He overcomes life and its energies and refuses to be dominated by their hungers. This is the practice that you were sharing. That, some hunger, or hunger for approval, hunger for validation, whatever is arising, and you are refusing to be dominated, staying with the mother, because then we are not free. That cannot be called freedom when we are, a slave of that approval. So he overcomes life and its energies and refuses to be dominated by their hungers, cravings, or enslaved by their rajasic passions. So whenever, something in us just wants something, like wants to jump at it, that's what we have to tame. You must have seen, and for different people it would be different thing that would do this grasping. So we have to, whenever we see grasping in our being, that's not our true self. And we have to become conscious of it leaping out and then not follow that path. So that's, and whenever I not follow that path of grasping, it makes me even stronger. Just like Swapna shared, that now my intention grows stronger, that mother, I want to be free. So when my intention is strong enough that yes, I want to be free and nothing else, then those graspings and agitations won't matter much. So it is helping me, those coming again and again of those agitative and grasping impulses is actually helping me in order for my intention to become pure, that what do I truly want? I actually want to be free, nothing else. So it purifies the being. So overcoming the mind and its habits, he does not live in a shell of ignorance, inherited prejudices, customary ideas, pleasant opinions. So we become conscious of all our mental conditioning basically. Why is it that I think like that? Why is it like that, that I feel like that? So questioning everything in me, becoming conscious of each and every aspect, and knows how to seek and choose to be large and flexible in intelligence, even as he is firm and strong in his will. For in everything he seeks truth, in everything right, in everything height and freedom. So whenever we are becoming stifled in the inner space, we feel suffocated, limited. If we check, we must be holding on to some thought which is limiting, some belief which is making us small. कुछ ना कुछ पकड़ के बैठे होंगे, you must be holding to something. So we have to become conscious of that and let it go. Why? Because every time what do I have to choose? I have to choose height and freedom. So again, a conscious choice one has to make every moment. So he knows that the body, life and mind, that this instrument that has been given, that's why many masters have said human birth is very precious, don't ruin it away. Why is it precious? Because this is the work we have to do. We have to first find the Godhead within and then turn everything in that divine image within myself and outside of me. So he knows that the body, life and mind are given to him in order to attain to something higher than they. So I don't have to be slave to my passions. I have to transcend my passion. I don't have to be slave to my moods. I have to transcend that mood. That's the capacity that is given to human beings. No other animal has that capacity to transcend that mood or whatever feeling that is there. Only human beings have that capacity. So I have to make use of that capacity. Therefore, they must be transcended and overcome, their limitations denied, and the absorption of their gratifications rejected. So it appears like as if I am hammering myself, but it's very gentle hammering. And it's not even, it cannot be even called as hammering, because now I am doing this because I know it is benefiting me. Look how pure and purified the mind becomes when I read one page of Mother and Aurobindo, or when I step away from desire. How purified, simple and light mind is. That's what I want for myself. This purity, this lightness, not this burdened mind. So it feels like hammering, but it's not actually hammering. For always, the Aryan is a worker and a warrior. He spares himself no labor of mind or body, whether to seek the highest or to serve it. He avoids no difficulty. He accepts no cessation from fatigue. Always, he fights for the coming of that kingdom within himself and in the world. So when we are draining our energies in our desires and limited likings and preferences, approval from that person, some little appreciation from this person, we drain our energies too much. And that's why I cannot put my life energy at a proper place. So when, this happens with many of us, you must have experienced. When we begin to meditate first, or we concentrate, gather our attention, you will see that many of us fall asleep. Have you noticed, why would that happen? Any ideas? Why does good books like Sri Aurobindo, Mother, they feel heavy to me? Why meditating or concentrating or in gathering my attention makes me sleepy? Why? Have you ever wondered? Anyone?
I've heard it once said that it's like the physical can't hold, like, or my physical can't hold the force. It's like not accustomed to it. So it kind of buckles or kind of checks out a bit and so feels sleepy. It's like not able, like somehow not have the container large enough or open enough or something like that. And sometimes that resonates with me. It's like, oh yeah, it needs somehow greater receptivity or a bit more sincerity or something like that.
Yeah. And if suddenly, when I'm falling sleepy in this lethargy, not able to contain force, suddenly in front of me some episodes of Friends or something that I like comes, would I be able to sleep then?
I'm laughing when you said that. Okay, that's a good one. It's like, yeah, exactly. So it's some kind of insincerity or unwillingness.
So
Because I would watch the Friends and be entertained. Yes, I'll go for the easy
and then I won't
take.
sleep. Watching Friends, I rarely, I may be able to sleep after I've watched maybe 10 back-to-back episodes of Friends. Then I may sleep, but Friends won't make me sleepy. When I begin to do in gathering of consciousness, then that makes us sleepy. So this tells us about our state of being. Silence is boring for me. Peace we are not used to. We are accustomed to the noisy mind. That's why the initial discomfort is going to be there. It's going to be there. But the more I become convinced that being the old self, it's a disgusted life and I don't want that disgusted life anymore. Mother says, I'm using this word from the mother. Mother says that when you are ready for new life, when you must be disgusted with the older self. So that's why you will see that there would be many people around you. If you want, you can pull them into spiritual life, but you won't be able to do that. Why? Because they are not disgusted with their previous life, the way they are living. So you can't move them. And again, if I look at my life, I would say that people were not able to move me when I am very content with my life. It's okay the way it is going, very self-satisfied. It's only when we become disgusted with the way we live, the chattery mind, the noisy mind, always running after desires, getting drained, this approval, that approval. When we are tired of that running, then I can be still, ingathered, yet not sleepy. So sleepiness is not meditation. Sleepiness is not ingathering of consciousness. Sleepiness is tamas. We have to, be clear, because many a times we equate, I was meditating and I went to sleep, so then it was not meditation, it was not ingathering. So masters have said then when it's a true meditation, you have been truly taking stance as awareness, a clarity of mind comes. You are more alive than ever. You are not dull. And that dullness is because of the pull from the material in conscience. This body is full of dullness. Imagine at one time we used to be all stones. Stones, then plant, then insect, how it has been evolving, the matter. So that dullness, the body still has that very strong memory of that dullness of a stone, the heaviness, the burden. So again, it requires persistence and efforts.
So for me,
Yes.
I mean, sleepiness, rather than sleepiness, my mind jumps onto some thought. And before I realize, I'm into that thought. And then after some time, when I realized I was actually meditating and maybe even doing some nama japa, it runs quickly to some thought after like 4, 5, 7 chants, and it kind of really disturbs me, that I'm not able to do it. And then there was a phase that I was very like, I sit and I start meditating within seconds, and I was totally connected, and it felt great. So when I look at my past thing, so it also disturbs me that I could able to do it, but I'm not able to do it now. So what's the difference? Also, what has just happened? So those kind of thoughts keep coming up. I'm still analyzing. I'm at that stage that I really don't want to analyze what is happening. I don't know. I'm just moving with the flow. I don't know what's gonna happen
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Sri Aurobindo gives an example how this battle has to be taken forward. He says, he uses an example of an army. Like, but I am going to just make it into a different example. Imagine that I am a teacher and I have 10 different classrooms to take care of. Now, what happens? I make silence in one classroom, everybody is organized, sorted. Then I move on. I am the only one. I move on to the other classroom. Now, there I do the sorting, organizing, everybody is silent, peaceful. By the time this classroom has been settled, the previous one that I settled, there the people are jumping again like monkeys, right? So, what I have to do, I have to go back again, settle them, give them good work, challenging work so that they settle their minds. Then I go to, like that, I go to others. The moment I go to others, I see that the previous ones I settled, they have started jumping again. But this is the work that has to be done. This to and fro and to and fro. This has to be done. You can't escape this. And why is it necessary? Sri Aurobindo says that because whatever jumps again, it means the truth has not been established fully in that domain. So it shows up its face again. It says, hey, I'm not settled yet. So we have to go there again. Good that it showed up its face. That just tells me that peace is not, that part of my being is not yet convinced of truth. So it will keep on showing up the face again. Sri Aurobindo, in one of the poems, he says God's labor. In God's labor, he says every battle fought has to be fought again. Every enemy slain revives again. So you would see again in these movies like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, you would see what happens. You kill a monster, but he doesn't die. He rises up from his blood. Why? Because it's just telling me that my rule is not proper. I have to grow in stature. I have to grow in my purity, my intention, so that that's each part of the being is wanting nothing but the truth. And until that happens, that stability happens, which again is a long journey. Until that happens, it will continue to show its face again. So I'll have to go back again there. Yeah. Anyone wants to share at this moment? Okay, so I'm going forward. Yeah, so I'm going to just maybe go through these words a bit. Our aim is to spread the eternal religion. In Hindi, we call Sanatan Dharma. Eternal religion, one religion which takes in all the aspects of other religions. It does not say no to anyone. Everything has a proper place. Sanatan Dharma, eternal religion. Knowledge, devotion, and non-attached activity are the root of an Aryan education. Knowledge, devotion, and non-attached activity are the root of an Aryan education. Liberality, love, courage, energy, modesty are signs of Aryan character. So we can actually write these points down and put it on our walls to remind us. Liberality, Love, courage, energy, modesty are signs of Aryan character. To spread the light of knowledge among men, to hold before the race an impeccable ideal of the elevated liberal characters, to protect the weak, to punish the powerful tyrants are the aims of Aryan livings. So here we come to taking a right stand. Not that, oh, I have given everything to the divine, now, may let people do whatever they want. That's not Aryan spirit. That's not how we are going to change ourselves and the world. If there is something wrong being done, I have to take a stand. Just because it has not touched my house, I don't take a stand. We do that. If the fire is outside, we would say, okay, let it burn. It's not reached my house. But when it reaches my house, then I begin to have a bucket and put water on it. So that is apathy. We have to go away from that apathy and cultivate empathy, that we are one with other. So if the other suffer, I also suffer. So we have to rebuild. He says that we have to rebuild this Aryan character and non-attached activity. So this would be also referring to a kind of a desireless activity. So usually whenever we do anything, we are either expecting appreciation, either we don't want to be rejected, we don't want to be insulted. And in the beginning, we may say, no, this is, I'm doing just for the sake of it. But if we are not appreciated and if we are rejected, we see something in us goes down. Then it is a signal that some hidden desire was there. That going down, a dullness coming, a darkness coming in the being. So becoming conscious that, oh, it's not gone completely, it's there, right here. And it gives us a chance that would I still do the work, the same work that I do, would I still do the work even if I'm not getting any appreciation and people are rejecting me? Yes, I would do that. Then it's the right work. So imagine that you are loving to somebody and that person, according to, according to your perception, that person doesn't bother much. Yeah, you are loving, so what to do? He takes it like for granted. Now I can ask my question. Either I feel dejected and stop loving, or I can ask myself, would I still be loving even if I get rejection? Yes, I will be loving. Why? Because I can't be otherwise. So mother says, why do you do anything? If you are loving, just be loving, because you can't be otherwise. You don't know any other way to live. It's not that overtly loving and hugging the person. I'm not talking about sentimentalism. I'm talking about just being a loving presence. Knowing that yes, people don't appreciate, people reject. Asking myself, would I still be loving? And I would say to myself, yes, I would still be loving. Why? Because it's also a kindness towards me when I am loving. So that's how we purify ourselves of our activity, non-attached activity. So whether I get rejection, appreciation, people don't, give me much attention, no name, no fame, no respect. Okay, doesn't matter. Would I still do the work? Yes, it is the right work. I will still do it. Then I can go ahead. Again, it gives me clarity in the mind, and clarity in the feelings. Yeah, so anything here, anyone? Yes, Preeti, yes. Okay, so moving on, let's see how much we can take. We may be able to touch shortly on these aspects. So Sri Aurobindo talks about the Aryan ideal and 3 gunas. And the 3 gunas are tamas, rajas and sattva. So he says that indeed something of the godly disposition garnered through thousands of years and inherent in the true Aryan character remains even in the worst of imprisoned criminals. So Sri Aurobindo, when he was in Alipur jail, he saw that this Aryan spirit, he could see even in the worst criminals in the prison. So one cannot label who is an Aryan, who is not an Aryan, because he could see that generosity, that compassion, that courage, strength, even in those people who were convicted, they were in prisons. He could see empathy in them, compassion in them, taking a stand for a right cause in them. So he saw that it's not gone. I see them even in the worst of imprisoned criminals. The main principle of Aryan discipline is the sattvic temperament. Then he will go on further talking about the sattvic temperament. He who is sattvic is pure. Normally, all human beings are impure. The impurity is nourished and increased by the predominance of rajas and great density of tamas. So what we were talking, not taking a right stand for a right cause is tamas, it's dullness. Rajas is wanting dominance, assertion, aggressively wanting things. Rajas. So these are impurities, they disturb us. That's why, you must have seen whenever you are aggressively wanting something, how much it disturbs your being. Either you are too excited or you are too disappointed. It disturbs the being. So rajas and tamas, they are impurity of the mind. The impurity of the mind is of two kinds. The first is inertia or impurity due to the lack of inclination to work. This is produced by tamas, dullness. So we are sharing that I am taking a sabbatical, but I am just dulling around in the house. Just very dull, very, very dull. I don't even clean myself up every day. So that's dullness, impurity. Secondly, excitement or impurity due to wrong impulses. This is caused by rajas. So I want that and I want that right now. So aggression, excitation, grasping. This is what we see in asuras. Whenever we have Ramayana, we see asuric characters. Ha 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 ha. I want this and I want it right away. So that's rajotamasic character. So sorry for that. So sattva is not tamas. He shares that whenever I'm very okay with myself, very self-satisfied, that is tamas and that is not sattva. So we know people like that. We may be one of them, that we are, everything is hunky-dory in my life, no need for progress, no need for perfection. That is tamas. That's not sattvic character. Sattvic character is open and receptive, to the higher teachings. It is true indeed that sunk in deep tamas, but using sattva as an excuse, we are pretending and boasting as being of highly sattvic. So he talks about how India came into the grip of Britishers, and we boasted that, see, we are so sattvic, anyone can rule it, we are so innocent. So he said, no, it's not sattvic character, it's tamasic temperament, that you are not taking the right stand. Like Bhagat Singh could not stop himself, that he said, no, this is not the way we can live. I have to get up and take a stand for, my country. Sattva can never be the cause of downfall. So when some people say that India was, down because of sattva, because we had too much of sattva, sattva can never be the cause of downfall. Indeed, a nation which is predominantly sattvic cannot remain bound in the chains of slavery. Right? So it is tamas that led us down. Too much luxury, too much consumption, bhog of all sorts, rajas and tamas. But then he also shares that how to get out of this tamasic characters. So he shares that the cause of downfall of this country is not an excess of sattva, but want of rajas, bhog, consumerism, and a preponderance of tamas, dullness. You don't want to move from your couch. You just want to consume all that is given to you. Buy something, consume. Buy something, consume. right? So that's what he says is the cause of downfall. And then he tells us that how to change it, all of us have to change it. The only means of avoiding such a result is to engage powerful rajas in the service of sattva. So you must have seen, even in movies, there are many loyal servants. They are so active, little hobbit like servants, and they want to be loyal to the master. They said, okay master, they don't sleep. They are very ready at the first call of the master. They are ready to serve the master. So that is life energy, or the rajas, or the passions, or the intensity. It is there at the feet of the Lord. So he says how to change this tamasic character and the indulgence of rajas. Put the rajas at the right feet. Right? So he says, if the sattvic disposition is aroused and become the guide of rajas, so all the energies are channelized now to Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Right direction, to a divine form, right direction. Energetic and the right direction, right? There will be no danger of re-emergence of tamas. So now you are falling in love with the mother. Still there is passion, but for whom? For the mother. That cannot lead me astray. Right? So this, if I go ahead, then it will be, there will be no danger for the re-emergence of tamas, and uncontrolled force, being disciplined and controlled, can do the country and the world a great deal of good according to the high ideals. So a Bhagat Singh, lots of energy, can't sleep, and where? At the feet of the service of country. Chandrasekhar Azad, Subhash Chandra Bose, Swami Vivekananda, all the energy, where? At the feet of the country. So put rajas at the feet of sattva. The means to arouse sattva is the spiritual temperament to renounce selfish interests and to deploy all one's energies for the good of others. So would I still do good of others or myself when I get rejection? Yes, I would do. Then right place, good place to go. To make the whole of a life great and pure sacrifice by surrendering oneself to the divine. It is said in the Gita that sattva and rajas, when together, they suppress the tamas. So if those of us who want to get out of this dullness that we have in life, monotone of the life, boring, boredom of the life, then what to do? Take the sattva, rajas, the right energies, channel them in the right direction, at the feet of the Lord. Give yourself, offer yourself to the divine. Mother, how can I serve? Tell me. So they went together, suppress the tamas. Sattva alone cannot conquer tamas. Tamas is too powerful a force, too dark, too dull. So it can't be just conquered because of with sattva. We need energetic force. So rajas at the service of sattva. That's how we can conquer the tamas. So I think, this we already have covered. Means of increasing sattva is to devote all one's powers to the good of others. And this is what we were reflecting upon earlier. There cannot be complete freedom unless we surrender ourselves to God, being fully free from desire and giving up all egoism. So the egoism will still stay. It is not going anywhere. But I will not follow its dictate. When it arises, I will be conscious of it and I will say, enough following you. Now I have better things to do. So who wants approval? The ego, of course. Who wants not to have rejection? The ego, of course. So, we become very conscious when want of approval, sense of lack, all this arise in the being and we reject it from our consciousness. But this journey, is not that easy, we all know. So just last slide that I want to share and then we can have reflections. If we truly want it, if we truly want a different life, if we are disgusted by the old ways that we live, we will have to practice. We will have to make the right choice each moment. Taming the monkey mind, I've just written a few pointers here, that whenever the mind is distracted in the old ripples and older consciousness, bring the mind either to the body with the breath or to a name that you like, either of the mother or some divine form. Centering our mind as like in gathering the threads of consciousness on that divine name. And that power will take us forward. So taming the monkey mind so that it begins to listen to you. You are the master. Training the monkey mind, how? That every time you have an opportunity, choose the right and the light. Seeds of good heart, goodwill. Always choosing goodwill over ill will. Pure intentions, rejecting tamas, rejecting excitement, rejecting ill will, and getting disenchanted that I know that what I want truly, this true joy, true bliss, no person, no situation can give me that. I have to find that within. Then what can I do? I can offer myself to the service of others in whatever little way possible, without any need of name, fame, respect, nothing. Why? Why would I do that? Because I can't be anything but that. A rose flower, ask it, today please don't give us fragrance, give us some drain like smell. It won't be able to do that. Why? But it's rose, it can't help but being fragrant. So that's how we have to begin to live. Yeah, and then there was one video that I wanted to share from Tignath Khan, but I'll share maybe with all of us on the group, WhatsApp group, and you can maybe later on go through that. Yeah. So just pausing here for today. We'll resume tomorrow and taking up any questions, doubts, or reflections that are there. Yes.
Other than serving the divine, are there other ways for Rajas to be in service of Sattva?
Yeah, so first of all, we are always serving the divine because there is nothing but the divine. So, but I understand what you are sharing, that if you don't want to use that word, okay, irrespective of I want to serve the divine, what do I do? So Mother says, refine your senses. Learn anything impersonal. So any form of art, music, you must have your natural inclinations. You may be naturally good at something. Giving energy and attention there, giving time there, improving your natural talents and abilities. Maybe if you don't like to, say serve people, maybe you like to draw. So giving your energies in making the drawing perfect and perfect. So moving towards perfect is moving towards divine. Right? So refinement of senses is another way. And alongside we have to do that all the, because when we are looking through a sense, we are actually looking, but we are not looking. We all know. We look at a wall, but the mind is so cloudy with thoughts that we actually are not looking. So to know how to look, that's what an artist does. He is looking at a tree and he is noticing each and every aspect of tree. The mind is not then disturbing that artist. He's not having a veil in front of him of the cloudy thoughts, so that which are not allowing him to see. So if one of the possibilities can be refinement of senses, whatever you are good at, some drawing, some art, some form of music, your natural abilities, giving attention to them, focusing your channeling your energies there, learning art of movement, maybe body movement, yoga, awareness of the body. So that is one of the means we can use it in life. Make sense, Vijeta, for you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, anything else? Anyone? So many of us, I just shared the link like that, and we are not on the WhatsApp group. So if we want to be on the WhatsApp group, you can personally message me, or maybe put here your number in the chat group, so that whatever links I want to share, uh, I can share those links in the WhatsApp group. And if you want in your time, you can go through that.
You can add these people to the
Yeah,
WhatsApp
actually,
group.
some of us I know personally, so I would be able to add them.
Some I do as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
you can add them to the WhatsApp group as you're on the admin. So
Okay, great.
okay. So
Okay. Thank you.
thank you very
Thanks,
much,
everyone.
Monica.
Thank you, James. Thank you. So we'll meet tomorrow again, the same time, and we'll take up the next theme. Yes.
Take up the next thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
everyone.
Monica.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.